practicing in the stadium, what advantage does that kind of give you guys heading into this one?
I mean, the biggest thing is just, just a shorter walk for one, just being able to kind of move around a little bit faster. You can have the meetings run a tick longer just to be able to get onto the meeting, to the practice field a little bit faster. And then for those that are kind of big into comfort level, visualization, it's obviously big when it comes to being at home stadium, kind of getting ready to go rock and roll for game day.
Is that for walkthroughs, Thomas?
Yes. Yes.
From an efficiency standpoint, what changes have you kind of made, or as a group made, after self-scouting during this bye?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of things when it comes to evaluating what we do well and try to find different ways to dress it up and hide it, because what normally happens is the stuff that you're good at, the opponent tries to find a way to take it apart and kind of identify it. So that's one of the biggest things, and obviously trying to figure out what are we not doing well, and can we fix it, or should we just eliminate it from the standpoint of us moving forward as an offense?
I know you don't want to give. Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
I know you don't want to give a lot away, but this team's been primarily an 11 offense.
Mm-hmm.
In LA, when you got there, there was a lot of 12.
Yeah.
Why do you think that there, like, with your influence on the play calling, why has it been the way that it's been? I guess just from that personnel look.
Yeah. Wish I had an elaborate answer for it. I think it's real simple, just based on personnel, right? Who do you have, and also what is the defense presenting versus those personnel matches? Like, to me, if you had a team that was playing, nickel to 12 the entire time, you get the advantage by putting a bigger body on the grass for the run game protection. And also, if you're playing an 11 and they're playing base to 11, you have an opportunity to spread the field, take advantage of matchups. So it's more based on how you're built from a skill level standpoint offensively than also your opponent, what to try to take away.
We've heard you talk about some of the anecdotes during the pre-draft with Bryce. Do you have any cool ones during your time with CJ?
No, I'm not going to touch that one. Again, I got a ton of respect for CJ, and he is playing really well right now, doing a great job as far as preparing him week in and week out. But there's no doubt that we all are happy about Bryce being our quarterback, and we'll keep building forward with him.
What's changed for you this week, adding the responsibility of play calling?
Really, just the biggest thing is obviously my preparation process towards how I actually want to call it versus suggesting ideas to Frank. And obviously, practice-wise, Frank and I were kind of rotating when it comes to series in practice as far as him calling and communicating to Bryce and then handing it over to me. And so obviously now I'm just the only one communicating. But other than that, the great thing about it is I've been performing the same role the entire time as far as meeting with the staff, game planning, scripting practice, running practice. So that's been the same.
One of the things Frank mentioned, even when he said that this time had come, he talks about the relationship that you are authentically building with Bryce. How would you characterize what that has grown into?
Yeah, so, it's definitely a partnership. You think about any time you have your starting quarterback who's, whether it's him or anybody else, but of that skill level, one that can understand concepts, bring ideas to the table, trying to give the balance of our film study, what we kind of present from the standpoint of activating for the game, but also what is he seeing, what is he comfortable with, and trying to find the best way to collaborate to come together with the best game plan week in and week out.
It seems like offensive coordinators rely heavily on their backup quarterbacks for communication. We've obviously heard about how you feel about Andy, but how important is he in this process as you guys start to play as you play call primarily and stuff moving forward?
Yeah, I don't think it'll change much as far as his communication, his role, because he's been elite from day one when it comes to his experience, his expertise, when it comes to communicating with me, running some different looks from a practice standpoint for our defense, but also for our offense. Then also in his own way, kind of pulling Bryce aside, trying to give him some feedback based on his experiences and obviously kind of to help accelerate the process when it comes to Bryce being a pro quarterback.
How many plays will you script?
Good question. I don't know if I want to say that. No, I'm playing. It'd probably be, I like being able to script just the first 24 normal D&D calls that I want to kind of prioritize and get to. I think most people have, a top 5 or, the generic deal is kind of more of a top 15, but it's more about just trying to figure out what I want to set up, how to attack it, things to play off each other, and also kind of get some inventory early in the game about how the defense is playing, just making sure that what we expect to see is going to be kind of confirmed based on the film study. Like I said before, also just marry some stuff to set up later in the game.
Are you more likely to take some deep shots than Frank was with where things are?
Yeah, my overall goal is to provide execution. So the communication from the sideline to Bryce, him in the huddle, is more about us being able to do a really good job of executing whatever's called. So it'll be, I believe, very similar as far as how it's been set up before.
Thomas, how do you blend Chuba and Miles, now that he's back healthy again, how do you kind of blend those two guys when they seem to have sort of contrasting styles?
That's the great thing about, you know, mixing and matching guys and trying to get into the war room and game plans. Thinking about how you utilize your skilled players, how to put them in best spots to have them come to life and be successful. So I think it's going to be a balanced approach when it comes to two of those guys and trying to maximize what they do for us well from a skill set standpoint.
You used to having Laviska out there as the third ball carrier. What does Raheem bring to your offense? We haven't really seen that at all.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Raheem is he's been ready from day one, did a great job in the offseason. Obviously, going back even to last year when I first got here, just watching tape on all of our players from an O-line, quarterback, receiver, running back standpoint, tight ends. He's provided kind of instant energy and spark, had great acceleration through the hole, but also gives you an opportunity to kind of get out in space to run routes and catch the ball well. So excited about him for those opportunities.
You guys signed Jordan Matthews. How quickly would you guys look to get him involved?
I think it all depends on the roster numbers overall. It's a lot that goes into who's activated on game day when it comes to the specific numbers by position group, but also how special teams plays a role in that, trying to find the best way to collaborate offense, defense, and special teams to put the best roster together. But it's also based on how well he can adjust and adapt and learn the system and prove that he's ready to go play.
He was here before. What were your assessments of him then and now?
Great personality, great mentality every single day. True pro from a standpoint of taking notes, asking questions, and obviously giving verbal and nonverbal communication to the coaching staff. So excited to have him back.
He was known as mostly a big slot receiver early in his career. How much does having that receiver experience help you with using him as a tight end?
Yeah, I mean, the more you can do, the more ways you can find ways to get you involved in the game. So it's all about trying to find ways to create matchups. I've talked before about the tight end group in general. Just want to try to have as many combo guys as possible that can be at the point of contact in a run game, whether it be on inside zone, on duo, and our power plays as well. But also they can create matchups when it comes to whether it be third down or just normal D&D matchups with linebackers and safeties.
Why do you think that part of the offense hasn't really clicked, the tight end, through the first 6 games?
Yeah, again, I wouldn't say it clicks. I know we've talked about this a couple of times in weeks past when it comes to, touches and opportunities. More about, again, how we're designing everything week to week. And, again, what the opponent kind of presents when it comes to giving guys an opportunity to activate. I think one thing to kind of play off at is obviously Adam playing the slot, which is a normal spot in years past where it was kind of tight end dominant and him being able to activate and find some matchups there. But I think it's more about us kind of game planning week in and week out and putting our guys in the best spot to be successful.
From the standpoint of running back, tight end, wide receiver, how hard is it as a player to get on the field in your offense if you struggle with blocking?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. It's the old saying, no block, no rock. So that kind of goes for everybody involved. I think when it comes to our total commitment, everything starting up front, building off the run from a play pass standpoint and leading into our drop back game and also the movements and keepers off of it, it's very, very important when you're playing 11 personnel to be able to kind of create some 12 personnel runs by using receivers at the blocking point instead of having to bring a bigger body onto the grass. So there's always exceptions to the rule, but it's always, for the most part, that golden rule of having to earn that right first.
With that said, we saw Tommy Tremble kind of explode a little bit as a playmaker against Miami. He's obviously known for his blocking.
Yep.
When you have a young player like that who has that versatility, how do you hone in on like his traits when designing plays for him?
Yeah, so I would say one thing about Tommy is he's probably emerging as one of the guys that's probably made up the most ground since I first got here as far as what he can provide for us offensively. You talked about what he can do in a run game, and he is violent at the point of contact, doing a great job, having tight elbows, tight thumbs, getting his second step in the ground. All the coaching points we're making in the tight end room. But as you mentioned as well, he can become a matchup problem. A guy that can run, has really good body control, ball skills down the field. So it's more about just trying to find ways to get him involved in the game, continue to find ways to build him up from a positivity standpoint, and let him keep proving it day in and day out.
You've known John Lilly for a really long time. How does he do that?
He's always like calm, cool personality, but he's also a great teacher when it comes to communicating. I think all of us as coaches from time to time can have some roller coaster emotions, maybe being too high at times or being too low at times. I mean, he's steady every single day. So I think him being able to find different ways to tap into his players, communicate with his players, and bring the best out of them.
Key to success against the Texans defense?
One more time.
Key to success against this defense?
Yeah, great question. So I think it always starts first week in and week out with taking care of the football. I mean, the number one way that you can put yourself in a bad spot in this league and lose football games is losing a turnover battle. So it starts with that first. understanding all the roles that we have, all 11 on the football field, my responsibility with taking care of the football. It's not just the ball carrier, but linemen blocking, tight ends being involved. We mentioned the receivers as well. But also Bryce doing a great job of what we talk about the DTA, which is his decision-making, his timing, and obviously being super accurate with the football to put the ball in play. And the receivers understanding the timing and spaces needed when it comes to the passing game and distribute the entire field. And when it comes to money down, these guys play a pretty heavy dose on third down and man coverage, so we got to go run and win. It's a simple game in ways that we as coaches probably make too complex. You line up across from me, my job is to beat you as many times as much as possible. So that's the goal we have week in and week out. And obviously doing a really good job of trying to play off their tendencies. They play extremely hard. I think one of the best compliments you can get as a coach is that your team takes on your personality, and they play like D'Amico played in his personality. They are relentless. They play hard. They're physical. So it's going to be important, not just this week, but every week that we do a really good job of matching that intensity and physicality.
How will this offense take on your personnel?
We'll see. We'll see. So, but again, I've been a part of it from the beginning. So just about me trying to find ways to help our coaches give more clarity and help our players become the best they can be. So that's my overall goal day in and day out.
With Austin active again this week, are there things he does, whether it's in meeting room, practice field, wherever, that kind of help beyond just what he brings to his position?
Vocal leadership. He's also a leader by example. Obviously, having an opportunity to be around him before in L.A. I love what he brings to the table from a mentality standpoint. You talk about the O-line position, how it's kind of built. It's about, being downright nasty at times. But he's a physical player, throws heads at the point of contact, but also extremely smart as well. So excited about him kind of being back in the mix.
I know you don't want to get into the whole CJ and Bryce thing, but when were you first sold on Bryce? I know you've talked about the one moment at that meeting or dinner or whatever, but is there a moment way before that you were first sold on him?
Yeah, I won't say way before that. It was kind of a building process. As I mentioned before, I had a chance to kind of talk about him going through the evaluation process while I was going through those 5 different interviews for the OC positions and watching tape on all the quarterbacks that are available in the draft. But as I mentioned before, having a chance to actually meet him, sit down and talk with him, talk ball with him, pick his brain, get to meet his family, that's kind of solidified more the thought process about why he's a guy for us.
And what do you want to be remembered by in your first game as a play caller?
Winning. One thing that matters is winning. So I'm focused on that. I don't obviously 100% control that at all, but my goal is to try to put our players in the best spot to have success. And game day is about them. Prepare them the right way throughout the week and give them an opportunity to go play with no fear.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
See y'all.